to write it down in the exam then. So capability. So PSI has been relatively settled over the last 3 years. So if the directors do not have any previous experience, so this would make the change rather difficult. But now if the CEO have experience, of course, make the change that much easier. Okay, so next one. Right, and also because if the CEO actually puts the changes, of course, this will be, the CEO, of course, it has power to dominate the change. As a result of that, we can talk about power here so that it can make the change that much easier. So how are we going to write it down in the exam then? So let's have a look at power, number 5. The CEO appears to be dominant power at PSI, supported by the sales and marketing director. But in the practical terms, the success of the changes depends upon the software team and the software development director. So we're going to look at what's what in later scenario, why this success will be dependent upon those directors rather than just the CEO. Because for the professional industries, especially in this case, of course, the success of the products will be dependent upon the operational staff. Okay, so we're going to look at the rest of the scenario. So in the last 3 years, he has curbed his natural enthusiasm for growth as PSI has consolidated his position in the marketplace, but he now feels the time is right to expand the business to a size and profitability so that it makes the PSI an attractive acquisition target from the outside perspective and enables the directors to realise the investment in the company. So what he's going to do is to change the business activities over here. Okay, so change the business activities over here. So either it is slow change or gradual change or sudden change. What do you think? Well, of course, because it is the internal staff, which is the CEO, wants to change something so that it is the gradual change. Okay, so I'm going to write that here. Gradual change. So once we've established it's the gradual change, we have 2 choices. Either it's evolution, or it's adaptation. But which one is right? Well, evolution, it is something to do with your big problem, which means you're going to change your customer base, you're going to change your management team, and you're going to change your culture within the businesses. But for the adaptation change, on the other hand, as a result of a change in methods within the company, this will not change the customer base management and also culture within the businesses. So it seems to me that I have no idea, so let's have a look at the rest of the scenario firstly. He has a natural lead in the sales marketing director, in the sales and marketing director, and both feel that the PSI needs to find the new national and international markets to fuel its growth. The software development director does not share the CEO's enthusiasm for this particular expansion. So it seems to me that wants to change the customer base, but some of the directors does not support this particular change. Of course, it seems to me maybe it's adaptation rather than evolution. Or maybe we can argue that it is evolution because it is changing the customer base and management and culture within businesses so that it is evolution change. Okay? So next about paragraph then. The chief executive has proposed that the growth can be achieved by developing a generic software package which can be used by everybody in the industry. Okay. So from that perspective, of course, from this comment's perspective, because the CEO is proposing to change his customer base. So from that perspective, of course, it is not an adaptation change anymore, it is the evolution change. Okay, so from that perspective, we can argue that it is the evolution change because it's a big change, because it's changing the customer base of the company. Okay, so let's have a read through the answers for the part A firstly, and we've looked at the basic one. So let's have a look at the application one. So adaptation is a change where the existing model is retained and only change occurs gradually. Okay. The CEO and sales and marketing director may see the move to selling the industry selling the software to the general retail industry as an adaptation, but the software director's resistance to the change suggests that this change will be more fundamental. And we're going to see from the evolution change perspective, of course, it's changed the customer base, and of course, it is happening within the businesses because the CEO proposed the change. So from that perspective, of course, this will be the evolution change. Okay, this will be the evolution change at the PSI. But how about for the reconstruction and revolution then? Because this is not reactive, so it is nothing to do with our reconstruction or a revolution. Okay, so maybe you're going to be subject to a takeover by someone else. Of course, this will be the sudden change, and maybe you're forced to pay the interest payment to some other parties, so that you're going to restructure your businesses with debt, with the equity turned into money to pay off those debts. So from that perspective, of course, it is the sudden change. But here, in this case, because it is the CEO within the business who to drive the change. So from that perspective, this is not a sudden change. So you can see the reconstruction and also the revolution change here in your answer. Okay, so we finish off part A, and we are going to continue to look at part B then. So let's have a look at the next paragraph then. So this proposed change in the strategic direction is strongly resisted by the software development director. Why he says this is the case is simply because he and his team of these developers are under constant pressure to meet the demands of the customers. So from that perspective, do we have enough capacity to monitor the change? Which means, do we have enough resources to monitor the change? Well, this will be questioned because the existing team is under big pressure from the customer. So from that perspective, they may not have enough time, money to do such changes later on by developing a new software package to the CEO, to the new customer. So from that perspective, how are we going to write it down in the exam then for the capacity? So the software development director already wants to acquire further resources to support the existing product. So it's likely that we'll need to recruit a number of staff, new staff, and also takes time and money to do such work. So, but we haven't noticed the detailed financial position of the company, but rather we just know that the company's performance is actually improving over the years, and also actually the number of employees will increases over the years from 2005 to 2007. So it may suggest to me that there will be enough resources within the company to conduct such changes. Okay, you can say that in the exam, or you can argue that maybe the company may not have enough resources to try to conduct those changes. So you can talk about those in the exam. That will be no problem. Okay, so this is the capacity, and also online ordering of the medical products and electronic departure of the prescriptions are just two examples of the constant pressure the PSI is under from their retail customers to continuously update its software package to enable the pharmacies to implement the technical innovations that improve the customer service. So from that perspective, well, we can also talk about whether or not the software development director would take its software developers away from the company. So we're talking about preservation of the change. After the change, do we preserve something? Okay, do we preserve some of the products within a company? If this is not the case, maybe the software development director may not happy with this. As a result of that, they will leave the company as a result. So from that perspective, how are we going to write it down in the exam then? So the first point over here. So software development team are important to success of the changes, but software developers are under pressure and if a number of the key developers leave the PSI, then the whole change project will be seriously affected as a result. Okay, so they're important to the change. Okay, you need to identify these kinds of 8 factors to influence the change. Okay, so let's have a read through the rest of the scenario now. So next paragraph. Okay. So ideally, the software development director would like to acquire further resources to develop a more standardized software package for their existing customers. So what they're trying to think about is that, well, they may try to improve their existing products rather than develop a new product. And as a result of this, their readiness to change is that they may think improving the existing products will be much easier than developing a new one. So from that perspective, yes, this will be the readiness, it will affect the change as a result. So readiness of the change, how are we going to write this down in the exam then? The software developer would prefer to improve the existing package rather than develop a new one. Therefore, it is likely that they will resist the CEO's proposal of the new change. Since PSI has been growing gradually over the last 3 years, there's no evidence suggests that it is ready for the significant changes taking place. Okay, because if this is the case, of course, it will consume lots of resources within the company as a result. Okay, so next one. He's particularly annoyed by the salesman of the company committing the company to producing a customized software solution for each of the customer and promising the delivery date that the company, that the software development team, delivery team struggle to meet. So what this actually means is the salesman, in order to earn his bonuses, he may try to promise